Good morning dear students. In this session of class, we are going to see effects of electric current. Under that, what is Fleming's left hand rule and how the conducting wire behaves whenever the polarity of the current is changed. The polarity of the magnetic field also changes, and what happens on the wire. How a force is exerted on the wire, that we are going to see in Fleming's left hand rule. The actual experiment is quite lengthy, but to study that experiment we need few basic explanation. I will try to explain you few equations also in this case, so that the picture about how the force comes over here is very much clear. Suppose there is a B, a current flowing through a conducting wire AB. A current is flowing over here. Then in that case, to avoid the confusion between the magnetic field, let us call it by name XY. So, the concept of the force can be explained here by using Fleming's left hand rule. What Fleming's left hand rule says, if in a left hand the thumb, the forefinger and the middle finger, all the three of them are outstretched such that they are mutually perpendicular to each other. So, if you see, all the three are mutually perpendicular to each other. Even if you can hold it in this way, still you can explain it, or you can also reverse the axis, change it anyhow, but you have to consider it for the left hand. The thumb, the forefinger and the middle finger. If you see, they are making 90° with respect to each other. So, all the three are mutually perpendicular to each other. Then how will you explain the direction of three important physical quantities involved in this case? Remember one thing, whenever current flows through a conducting wire, a magnetic field of strength B, which is called magnetic induction, is produced. At that time, a force is also exerted on that conducting wire, which is denoted by F. So, we have three terms over here: force, the magnetic field of induction and the current. So, Fleming's left hand rule says, consider the left hand with the thumb, the forefinger and the middle finger outstretched. If the thumb indicates the direction of the force acting on the conductor, then the forefinger will indicate the direction of the magnetic field and the middle finger will indicate the direction of the flow of electric current. So, accordingly I will try to place it in this way. So, if this is the direction of flow of current, this will be the direction of the magnetic field, and then this will be the direction of the force. Now, here I am going to slightly tilt my fingers to explain you what will be the labeling of the arrows in this case. One thing is quite clear, that the horizontal line indicates the flow of current. So, that will be my middle finger in that case. An arrow is pointing in inward direction in this way, and one more arrow is pointing in upward direction. So, if you observe it in this manner, the thumb is pointing in upward direction. Suppose this is the direction of flow of current, fine. This will be the direction of the magnetic field, and the top portion will indicate the direction of the force. So, remember one thing, if you keep on tilting the hand, then these axes can also be tilted. It is not that permanently they will remain in the same manner or in this manner. Depending on the tilting of these three axes, the directions of force, the magnetic field of induction and the current will also vary. But the concept for the left hand remains same. The thumb, the forefinger and the middle finger, all three are stretched in such a manner that three of them are mutually perpendicular to each other. The thumb represents the force acting on the conductor, the forefinger represents the direction of the magnetic field, whereas the middle finger indicates the direction of the flow of current. Now, based on this, there is an equation which says force is equal to I, L, B and sin theta. L is the length of the conductor, I is the current flowing through the conductor, B is the strength of the magnetic field. Question arises, from where does sin theta gets introduced in this case? Answer is very easy. If you consider a magnetic field along the diagonal, then it will have two components always, depending on how much angle it is making with horizontal. So, if here is the angle made by the magnetic field with the horizontal, then this portion will be called as B cos theta component, whereas the other one will be called B sin theta. Always remember, any vector quantity can be resolved, it can be separated into two components, sin theta and cos theta. You will not find this article in your textbook, but the experiment which is given, in which they have continuously used the word a force acting on the conductor, a force acting on the conductor. If you change the direction of flow of current, the direction of the force will also change, and there you will find the wire which is present in the magnetic field. Generally, magnetic field are shown by cross. What does this cross indicates? The cross indicates that the magnetic field over here is perpendicular to the plane of the paper. Magnetic field is perpendicular to the plane of the paper. Then it will happen in this manner. If the polarity, when no current is flowing, but when current flows, then you will find the wire moves on this side. If the polarity changes, then the wire will move on the opposite side, and in this manner the force keeps on acting on it. So, force is experienced by the conductor in this case, and that force is given by this equation I L B sin theta. Now, question arises, when will maximum force act on that conductor? there is a query given in a box over there in the textbook, and they have mentioned there that when it is perpendicular, in that situation maximum force acts on the conductor. So, they have not elaborated there what is that perpendicular concept. So, angle of that resolved component theta is 90 degree, and we all are very well aware of this, that sin 90 is 1. So, if I put this value over here, I will get maximum force acting on it will be I L into B. F is equal to I L into B. This much force will be the maximum force acting when the field is at 90 degree. Question arises, what will happen if the field is at different angles? If the field is parallel to it, if the field is parallel, you should know all the cases, field is parallel, then in that case theta is 0 degree. If theta is 0 degree, we are very well aware of it, sin 0 degree is 0. So, if I substitute the value over here, it will become I L B into 0. So, in that case force will be 0 acting on the conductor, whereas if the field is at 90 degree, then if you put it in this formula, you will get sin 90, which is 1, and you will get the maximum magnitude as I L into B. You can also try it with 45 degree, 60 degree, 30 degree. In that cases you will come to know that the force will be fraction of this ILB and not the whole term. So, definitely those fractions will be lesser than ILB. Hence, it is said maximum force will act on the conductor if the field is at 90 degree, that is the perpendicular field. I hope that this much part related to Fleming's left hand rule is clear. One more thing I will like to add over here, this is all happening when the conductor is placed which is carrying current in a magnetic field. A external magnetic field is there and a current carrying conductor is introduced in that. So, that current carrying conductor will experience some force on it, which is given by F is equal to I L B. The force acts on the current carrying conductor because the current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field. Current is flowing through the conductor, so it experiences a force. We are also going to see what happens inside the wire when it is placed in a magnetic field and current is flowing. So, remember, let the charge on the electrons be q. The electrons will be moving from x to y with velocity v. The magnetic field produced it is present over there is of the strength B, then a force F also acts on the electrons, and that is given by F bar is equal to Q V bar cross B bar. The theorem is out of scope, but I will still like to explain you few things at least, so that there should be no difficulties while studying the experiment. Just explaining you the experiment as per given in the book is of no use. You should exactly know from where is this force acting. So, I am taking you right now inside the wire where electrons are present. So, whenever cross product is removed, you get Q V B sin theta. So, again you will notice that that component B sin theta is considered in this case, and the force acting on it is given by Q V B. This kind of force in physics is called Lorentz force. Such kind of force is called Lorentz force, and this force is also maximum when the field is perpendicular, it is at 90 degree. So, if I put over here theta as 90 degree, sin 90 again is 1, and in that case sin 90 degree is 1, and in that case F will be equal to QVB. Maximum force acts on the electron also, which is present inside the conducting wire, which is given by F is equal to QVB, whereas the force which is explained by Fleming's rule, the force acting on the conducting wire is given by ILB sin theta. In both the cases, if you observe, even if it is a electron flowing through the conducting wire or a current carrying conducting wire, some or the other force definitely acts on the conducting wire due to external magnetic field, and the direction of the magnetic field, the direction of the current flowing through the field, whereas the direction of the magnetic induction, force, magnetic induction and the current, all three can be very well explained on the basis of Fleming's left hand rule. So, I hope that this much concept will be definitely helpful to you in next class whenever we will be studying the experiment related to Fleming's left hand rule, where I have explained you in short here how it gets attracted, how it gets repelled depending on the direction of the flow of current. The polarity of the current changes, then the side of the polarity of the magnetic field also gets reversed. So, depending on that we can. Now, I will like to introduce you one small concept. Most of the students they ask, how is the polarity produced in a coil, or how the polarity also keeps on changing in the coil. Let it be a straight long current carrying conducting wire, or let it be a loop, anyhow. Suppose this is a circular loop in which the current from my side as well as from your side right now is in clockwise sense. Under such situations, the polarity produced on the coil in this direction is south. Just remember this concept in your mind. Somewhere in future we will see it in detail. Whereas in other case, if the current is in anti-clockwise direction, then in that case you will find, if you observe carefully, you will be able to see north and south. You can see this as. So, it is a simple way to remember, if the current is in anti-clockwise sense, the coil facing will be producing north pole, whereas if the current is in clockwise sense, the face of the coil will have south pole. So, in this way, depending on, like if you observe, current is flowing here in anti-clockwise direction, so the polarity is north. As soon as the current starts flowing in clockwise direction, the polarity of the magnetic field also switches, it changes and it becomes south. How this happens? There is one more article in this chapter, there we will see it in detail, but for time being I just wanted to introduce you this, because in the case of Oersted's experiment also we have seen. Only remember one thing, loop does not indicate a circle, loop can be a triangular thing, loop can be a rectangular thing, loop can be a square thing. Loop indicates it is closed from all the sides. It is not essential that it should be circular, because in Oersted's experiment we have seen this was the cell and the current was flowing in this manner. So, you might be thinking where is the circle in that case? No, it is not about circle, it is about a closed thing which is interacting with the magnetic needle over there. So, now you understood now how the field is produced on the loop, and remember one more thing, magnetic monopole never exists. What is the meaning of that? Try to understand. Suppose this is the coil, you are viewing it from front side, which is showing you the north pole because the direction of the current is in anti-clockwise sense. If someone observes the same coil from the back side, then for that person the current will be flowing in clockwise direction. So, the other face of the loop will be a south pole. So, never think in this way that a coil produces only one polarity of the magnetic field. No, magnetic field in monopole form never exists. One face is north of the coil, then if you view it from the other side, the other face will be south. So, single coil has polarity of north and south if it is acting like an electromagnet. So, I hope that all these basic things are clear to you, which will be helpful to you in understanding the experiment about how the force acts on a conducting wire if it is placed in an external magnetic field. In that case, we are going to use a permanent magnet. The permanent magnet can be in a horseshoe form or any other type, but it will be surrounded. Definitely the current carrying conducting wire is to be surrounded by an external magnetic field to experience a force. Without presence of external magnetic field, it can't experience any force on it. So, that we will see in the next article, next session, but for time being the assignment for all the 3 sessions which were conducted today is completion of the theory part in writing form, where we have seen how electric bulb operates, how is the temperature of tungsten filament over there, what happens in case of nichrome alloy, in case of electric heaters, electric cookers or electric stoves. Then we have also seen what is the fuse, what is the miniature circuit board, how the wire gets fused and we can stop large amount of current flowing through the circuit and damaging the appliance. Then we came to the other topic where we saw how magnetic field is produced, we saw Oersted's experiment, then we saw right hand thumb rule, along with that we saw single coil or single loop experiment or double loop experiment, and then later on we have seen Fleming's left hand rule and how the force exists with the equation and when is the force maximum. In the next part we are going to totally focus on the experiment which will tell us how a force can be visualized which acts on a current carrying conductor. Thank you very much.